Moving on to our next big in the season preview then. It was Derwin's running mate at the four. Isaiah Stewart, guys. What are we expecting from him this season? He was arguably our most consistent player last season, and I'd like to argue he was our second best player last season. And I think he really divides this fan base because I see a lot of people very anti Isaiah Stewart. Gabe, I'm gonna hand it over to you for the rundown on beef stew.
Yeah, those anti-beef stew people do not have a home here on this podcast. I think I'm in agreement with you. Our most consistent, our second best player behind K last year, and he averaged about 11 and 7, 1 point, no, about a block a game as well. And the important thing is he shot 38% from three on about 4 attempts a game. And we've talked a lot about what type of threes he was hitting. Was he really drawing people out of the 3 point line? The answer was really no. But if he continues to shoot like he did, I think he put up like 175 last year. And that's the other point I want to make. That we talk about consistency. The last 2 seasons, last year he played 46 games. The year before that was 50. Um, to not be on the court, which surprised me honestly, because I felt like he played almost every game, but to not be on the court that much, you can't. I think that's the most important thing for him is to just stay healthy and be on the court. And if he's taking like he took 175 threes over half a season last year. If he's putting up 350 threes, like that's pretty good. Um, and that's just really what I want to see next year. You said he was the starting four. Um, thank God. I think our dual big days are over. Tobias Harris is most likely the starting four, which we'll talk about later, which kind of puts Isaiah Stewart on the backup five, which a lot of people have been asking for. And, I think that is what he's built best as. Um, Even though I would love for him and Asar to start, I just don't think there's room. So to have one of the best backup bigs in the NBA, that is not an exaggeration. Beef Stewart is really good at everything he does, pretty much. It's just great to have, and I think in this role he's going to excel even more. He was at 30 minutes a game last year. That's probably going to drop down. I think probably high 20s. Give Jalen a little more minutes and a little more freedom to be the exclusive big on the court with Asar there, and just put those threes up and grab those rebounds because that's really what he's there for. And of course, being our best defender, which I think will continue.
Yeah,
Anything to add?
I think you're right on the money. I mean, I want to get Connie's perspective on if you see him starting or not. I don't see him starting. But what I do see him doing is closing just about every single game we play, whether that's at the four, whether that's at the five. He's just got to be on the court for, like you said, Gabe, for all those reasons. His overall consistency on both ends of the floor. He's one of the few guys that at least tries to bring it defensively and tries to, be a bit of an instigator. And those are the kind of guys you actually kind of need to win basketball games. Um, I think he is going to come off the bench, and I think that 3 point shot is going to take yet another leap. I think it's easy to forget how new to shooting threes consistently Isaiah Stewart was, and he was fantastic last season. He got up a lot more than he ever had in his whole career, and shot at a damn good percentage. And like you said, like the numbers weren't like he didn't gain that much respect at times from opponents, but I think over time that's going to completely change. And he's the hardest worker I really know on this team, and I think that 3 point shot is going to just continue to develop. Um, he's the kind of guy that I really just hope and I could see make all defensive teams. I know we have a few guys on this roster that have that, but I honestly might have him over Asar Thompson in terms of making a defensive team. Credit to him being a big, I think, as well. Um, I'm expecting just a really fundamental season. I think that 4 year, 64 million deal for him is even if he's coming off the bench, is such a great deal for Isaiah Stewart. We throw that Al Horford comp out all the time. And I think he's getting there. I think he's going to be a guy, like I said, that's going to close all these games. He's going to guard the other team's best player. That's bigger most of the time, whether that's a three or a four or a five, quite frankly. Kind of want to give you the opportunity to talk about Isaiah Stewart before I have my closing remarks on it.
You guys touched pretty big. If you're saying that he's going to be in the closing lineup, uh, does that mean that you're expecting us to close with a two big lineup, Valley?
I think that depends on the team we're playing against. And I think that's the flexibility that we have with Isaiah Stewart. And I think that's why he's so valuable. If you want to match up and go bigger, like say you're playing the Cavaliers, where they're running that big 4-5 combo, or even if it is a smaller team, Isaiah Stewart can hang his ground. I would say 3 through 5. And I don't think there's an issue, but I just think it gives you that flexibility to be able to run double big to close out the game.
Yeah, all right. I mean, my thing with Stu, it was the same thing I've kind of been asking for. I've seen like slight improvements in it, but it's like hit the threes that aren't easy, right? Hit the three when you don't have 8 feet of space in the corner. Hit the three when your guy is closing out on you and you have half a second. You know, hit the three that you might have to put a dribble into the ground and or like let the guy fly by or something like be able to hit threes in variable situations, I think would be the difference between Stu being that would be the difference. Stu, I don't know what the difference between, but that would be what would allow those two big lineups to actually work. Like Stu has to become a credible threat, not only to hit threes, but hit threes in tougher situations, and that would make him, I think, what would establish him as like a legitimate 3-point threat.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. And I think that goes back to him like not having that much experience being an out and out power forward and shooting those threes. But even if say he's at the same level or slightly better than last season, you can have a closing lineup of Cade, Beasley, Fontecchio, and then Stu Duran and have that spacing, in my opinion. Is there anything else you guys want to add on Isaiah Stewart here?
Yeah, real quick, like off like defensively, the two bigs is not the problem because Stu can switch and Stu is a beast on defense. And I offensively he is a better shooter, dare I say, than like Tobias Harris. Like
Nope.
just straight up in
No,
the
he's
I
not.
corner, I
No,
want
agree.
he's not. He's
Tobias.
not a
I
better shooter
agree.
than Tobias Harris.
I mean,
I agree.
I want Stu.
I,
So
he's not.
either way he can hang. Like Stu is a good shooter. I think it's just he can't like create if the person closes out. He can't create, and he has like, a few flashes. I remember the one against Embiid where he kind of did like a little 1-2 dribble and then drove and slammed it. Like Stu
I
just can't
remember
really
that.
do much on the ball, which is why he can't play the four really. But if he just like transforms, then yes, that's who he can be. But I'm very high. What do you guys think will be his 3-point percentage this year, and on how many attempts? I'm gonna come right out, say like 5 attempts a game, 41% from three.
Oh my God. I'd say like 38, also 5 attempts a game.
39, but I see more than 5 attempts a game.
I
Off
just
the
think,
bench?
yeah,
That's like a
he
lot of
took
I
three
think
attempts.
point he took 3.8 last year at 38%.
yeah, I still think he's gonna get near
You're
30 points a
adding
game.
volume. I don't think you can expect uh huge percentage increases. 41? You
Yeah.
think that Stu's gonna be like a legit shot
Shoot that
maker?
thing, Stu.
I think Stu's lethal from three. He
And if
has
it's
such a
five a
pretty shot
game,
already.
it's 5 a game, that means you do think that he's gonna be able to hit tougher 3-pointers.
Yeah, I do. Because with like he already has a pretty shot. I love his form, and then we're working with Fred Vincent. I think will really expand his ability to hit different types of threes. Go back and
I
watch. Me and Valley talked about this the other night. There's this channel on YouTube that posts every bucket of NBA players. Go watch Isaiah Stewart one. He hits some threes that aren't just wide open. Like you actually like. I think you're kind of looking back at it the wrong way. This guy hit some threes that were like
Oh yeah,
to the
hold on.
side,
You watched
pump
that?
fake.
You watched a highlight mix of all the makes.
Yeah. When you
Just,
shoot 38%,
oh
you have
man,
a lot
I
of
watched this
makes.
highlight tape and he was cooking. I watched the Killian Hayes offseason tape, dude. You know he can hit right hand lays now. Uh,
I don't know. I fully agree with Gabe. I'm a very big supporter of Isaiah Stewart. I think what's going to be key to him shooting a high percentage is that he has a really high release point already, and I think Fred Vincent's just going to help him make that more. Um, and I'm seeing 39%. I'm seeing around 5 to 6 attempts per game as well. Massive year for Isaiah Stewart, and I want to do this with every person we're going around. single stat that we think will jump the most from Isaiah Stewart?
This one's tough because I don't think he's necessarily gonna get a big jump in stats. Um,
3-point makes.
yeah,
I
I
love
guess so. He made one, like I said, he made 175 last year playing 46 games.
He made 175 3-pointers.
No, he made 67. He attempted 175. My
I was
bad.
gonna say, yeah, I could see him hitting 100 threes this year.
Yeah,
absolutely.
me as well.
So Gabe and Connie, you're both taking total 3-point makes.
Yeah, I don't see
Because
any
I,
other stat really
yeah,
in.
especially because I think he's gonna move to the bench. He played 31 minutes a game. I think that's gonna drop a little bit this year. So like counting stats might go down slightly.
I don't know. Call me crazy. I might go points on this one.
You're
That if
crazy.
he's shooting the way Gabe thinks he's gonna shoot as well, I think I'm a little bit lower, but I think there's a lot of room for just total points. Before I move on, I do want to congratulate Isaiah Stewart on his firstborn, Rafa Stewart. Congratulations to him and his partner. Looks like he's having a great summer as well out in Jamaica and in New York, Isaiah Stewart. But moving on then.